Crook publicly posted that the judge in the federal bankruptcy case stated that there better not be a video about the deposition. That's interesting considering Crook and LIEnette have already fed information to fat toothless fleece of flea. She publicly stated online that LIEnette was intentionally 100% on purpose interrupting Randy during her deposition. This is a major issue because Fleesa has already frauded her viewers many times, and we're talking well over $100,000 that should have gone directly to LIEnette. Directly, 100%. This is fraud after fraud after fraud. Fleesa has claimed that she's a creditor in the case, therefore she would be a part of the case, and therefore, based on John Crook, she would not legally be allowed to talk about the case, and yet here she is online talking about the case. And you know what she told her followers and her viewers? I'm not a part of the case. After how many months lying to them, saying that she's a creditor, that she's a part of the case. Because of the fence, because of the lumber, she's more of a creditor than I'll ever be. Here we go again. Another lie, another fraud, and these fools continue to listen to her. Everybody also wants to know, where's the child? Why is the child not in school? Why is the child still in diapers? Why is the child placed in these adult situations? At this point, LIEnette has already burned over 45 minutes off of the actual deposition, which is court-ordered by a federal judge. She claims in the very first question that she has no medical issues, she has no medications that she could be on that would actually cause her to not be able to remember or recall answers, which this all changes later down the road, especially once we get into the second question of what is her name? Oh boy, if that's not a question of all questions, how in the world can you pin down a name for somebody who I know of over 40, last count, 41 known aliases? A woman who claims she has been married and divorced 7 times. 7. And I have no doubt whatsoever she had her eyes on me for number 8. Nice try. Never gonna work. Ever. Never gonna get it. Never gonna get it. Never, ever gonna get it. So, Randy has LIEnette setting the stage with the expectations for the deposition. You stop. You pause after a question is asked. You take a breath and you answer it. And Saran Wrap, her own lawyer, is there, has told her the exact same things. You are not to talk to John Cook. You know him as Crook. You are not to even talk to me as your attorney about the deposition. You are to have no communication with anyone. Information has come out later that LIEnette and Crook went out to the vehicle during a break to go and get paperwork with her names on it. That would mean there was communication. That would mean there's an issue in this deposition. More issues than have already been presented. And here's the biggest issue. LIEnette did not follow the guidelines of the deposition. She literally left the deposition. Whether she was skipping, whether she was running, whether she was walking, whether she was doing the worm, whether she was pole dancing out of the deposition, doesn't matter. She illegally left the deposition. When Randy said, all right, this is it, that's when he was going to get the judge. She is to go to the judge with Randy. Nope, she left the building. And now the deposition has been suspended, even though we're going to go through the hour and a half of the questioning and the answers, the insanity of it all. But what this does is this is now like a default judgment in court. We can get the default judgment based on her lack of answers during the deposition. So most likely what will happen, this will go to the federal court and they'll go, yeah, there's absolutely no homestead whatsoever. This is a default. She didn't answer questions. She's done this twice now. She's dodged the deposition. Then she left the deposition and the judge will most likely go, default, done, we're not playing games. This is what I love about this judge. So we know Harley is not in school as she should be, and she's not even potty trained as she should be. And the only thing that's wrong with Harley is she can't break down some proteins, but LIEnette gives it to her all the time anyway. LIEnette has already stated that CROOK is a schmexual busser, and she has to be the one to administer any medications to the child. Even though during her first dodging of a deposition, the whole excuse was the only person that could watch this child and care for this child was CROOK. Weird, because now we're being told CROOK can't do anything for this child because he's inappropriate. LIEnette's words, not mine. LIEnette has said that about everybody, from her own grandson to myself to Lloyd, who moved in on the property, and anybody else and everybody else who's been a part of her life. So we get into the question of, what is your name? Okay, I got a ton of notes here. Let's roll. Let's see how far we can actually get, because this is a huge question. I hope you understand that these questions are based on the homesteading or non-legal homesteading of the property. Again, in Florida, if you are to be homesteaded, that means that's your primary residency, and therefore you get a tax break. So for example, I have multiple places in Florida. I'm here in Ohio. If this isn't my residential property, my home, which Ohio is, I get no homestead. Ohio doesn't have homesteading. But if I claim the 70 acres, I would get a tax break. Let me tell you, taxes in Florida are dirt cheap. I could care less about a tax break on homesteading in Florida. It is dirt cheap. Where I really need a tax break, here in Ohio. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars in taxes on this piece of property. So we're getting to the point of, what is your actual name? And Randy needs to figure out what the legal name is, because LIEnette has changed her name so often to abuse and use the system and get away with searches on herself, get away with, you name it, right? Scamming, conning, the life that they have lived. So Randy asked the question. Let's get to it right here. He goes, normally this would be a short question with a short answer. Unfortunately, in this case, it's not. See where we're going? It's the name. It's the name. He goes, Miss Preston, state your full legal name. State your full legal name for the record. And she says, LIEnette Michelle Lacey Alexis Preston. Randy goes, all right, well, let's break that down a little bit. Let's see what we got there. Okay. We are talking here today mainly about the homestead exemption, correct? Yes. LIEnette agrees. It's about a homestead exemption. That's what we're going to trial for. She's claiming she can't have the property seized and sold. The trustee is claiming, yes, she can. We are claiming, yes, we can. And we are going after everything. Let this be a lesson to you stalkers and to the rest of you antis. I'm not done with you by any stretch of the imagination. By any. You want to be a part of my life. Let me say it again. You'll be in my life the rest of your life. You are never going to run away from any of this, ever. So, Randy says, I need to know how many legal names you have. We don't want to be duplicating, triplicating any legal paperwork, so let's talk about this. She goes, well, you know, I have so many. Randy goes, all right, let's break it down a little bit. What is on your birth certificate? Toothless Fat Fleece of Flea has already gone live stating that her birth certificate says LIEnette Michelle Lacey Alexis. And the list goes on, right? Well, debunked again. Debunked the stunk. And I guarantee you that chair, whoo, it stank all right. Because LIEnette does the debunking. Makes my job so easy. I love debunking. I do. So LIEnette answers the question and says, it's LIEnette Michelle Barber. She was born into a barber family. Huh. You realize most of our last names are based off of what our professions were. Baker, barber, things like that. Now, I have no idea with Hales, no clue. And to come and find out that I'm majority Jewish as well, that makes it even more confusing because I thought it was probably European, probably Great Britain, somewhere in that area. You know, Hales, Wales, the Duke of Wales, the Duke of Hales. No. At some point, somewhere in LIEnette's lineage, somebody was a barber. Interesting, considering she has so little hair left on her head. Okay. That's okay. I'm sure Crook has a ton of hair on his back. So she says barber, and then she goes, I don't go by LIEnette. But my name is LIEnette. Barber is on my birth certificate. Michelle Barber. And so Randy goes, oh, okay, hold a second. You don't go by LIEnette. So Michelle, she's literally telling Randy, Michelle Barber is what's on my birth certificate. I don't go by LIEnette. It's not what he asked. It's not what he asked at all. He wants to know exactly what's on the birth certificate. That's what he wants to know. What is your given name at birth? This is a really difficult question, right? For example, if I was being asked that question, my answer would be Jeremy Brian Hales. We're going to find out later that LIEnette started adding names because she became a Christian. You know what? I accepted the Lord as my Savior at the age of 7. And to this day, I'm 49. I've never added any other names to my name. Not once. I graduated from Bible college. I graduated from seminary. I have literally taught, spoke, preached around the world. In other countries, I've yet to have another name attached to my name. Not once. So Randy goes, what is the name on the birth certificate? Would it say LIEnette Michelle Barber? Yeah. Okay, it's LIEnette Michelle Barber. Randy goes, when did you first start using the name Lacey? Of course, we've all seen online that she claims she's never used Lacey, Ruby, any of these things. And yet we see all kinds of text messages that she sent people. Hey, it's Ruby. Hey, it's Lacey. Hey. She burns every bridge, gets up and runs, starts a new name, burns every bridge, gets up and runs. It's all to take advantage and to con and scam people. That's what it is. Okay. So he goes on to ask, were you in high school? Was it after high school when you first started using the name Lacey? And she goes, well, I legally changed my name in court. Could you imagine me, Randy, at this point? I didn't ask that question. Nobody asked, did you legally change your name in court? Nobody asked that. She goes, I don't know what year. Nobody asked that. He said, when did you start using Lacey? So when you say in court, Randy says, when you say in court, was it while you were in high school? Was it after high school? She responds, yes, after high school. She's screaming. Of course, she only has one volume anyway, right? Which is interesting because now she's claiming the child is on the spectrum. We have a new ailment. The child's on the spectrum. The child can't handle loud noises. So what do? They get loud dog. You know, this is the service dog, which is not a service dog by any stretch of the imagination that has a shock collar on it. So the child can't be around loud noises, dogs barking. Yet, the child is around LIEnette, who is one of the loudest people I've ever witnessed in my life. And Crook. The entire neighborhood hears them screaming and yelling at each other all the time. But don't worry, July 4th, they went to go see fireworks. Hold a second. A child on the spectrum can now go see fireworks. Aren't those loud noises? Oh, but don't worry, she posted. Once she got used to it, everything was okay. Okay, this is the same people who put a radio out on Turd Purgatory, blaring it to try and interrupt What You Doing Willis's videos with music. Oh, by the way, at the prompting of Marla Huge and other very ignorant and very, there's a lot of beloved people. What's the opposite of beloved? Very non-beloved people in the area. Boy, if you see what people say about Marla Hughes on Facebook groups, they all hate her. I'm not sure even her own mother loves her. I'm being serious. I don't think anybody does. And she wants more than anything to be relevant in life, and she never will be. So we get after high school. All right, what state were you in? Now she can't figure out the state. I was in, I was over, Iowa. And she goes, and it's L-A-C-E-Y, not L-A-C-Y. And she goes on this whole spiel about how she changed it. It was first L-A-C-Y, but then she changed it to L-A-C-E-Y because that's much prettier. You've got one of the most ugly, disgusting human beings in the world talking about going by Lacey, adding an E, and it's prettier. Let me be very clear. Very clear. This is going to fail. This is getting old. This is going to wrinkle, and it's going to have age spots, and this body is not who I am. What's in my heart, what we commonly call our soul, that's who we are. That's who we are. That goes on forever. Your soul goes on forever. Who you are, your personality is what makes you beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong. There's physically appealing things. I love long hair. Love long hair. I'm attracted to long hair. I love a beautiful smile with teeth. I think most of us are. I love big, brown, beautiful eyes. Oh, it just makes my heart melt. Those things can look very ugly when the insides of a person are very ugly. There's nothing that makes a person attractive based on adding an E in Lacey. And LIEnette is so disgustingly vile. There's nothing she's ever going to do to make herself look pretty. It ain't gonna happen. It's not possible. All right, so now that she thinks she's gonna be pretty because of a name change, he asked, did you change your name legally? Or did you add a name? What happened? And she goes, well, I was in Iowa and I did it legally. And what'd you change it to? Randy wants to know what did you change? Do you understand how important this is? The name is so important. The name is extremely important because these are legally signed documents. So if she claims her name is Michelle LIEnette Preston or LIEnette Michelle Barber, or we got 41 different variations. We actually have more than that now. And that's not on the legal paperwork. She's not the legal owner. She has to have one legal name. One. And that's the legal owner of Turd Purgatory, which she will not be the legal owner much longer. So she goes, yes, I changed it to Lacey, Alexis. I did it in Iowa. Okay. So Randy's trying to wrap his head around this when the name changes happen and all that. Now you understand, Randy has all documentation. We have legal documentation. There is so much legal documentation that we have with all of these names and all of the fraud and all of the cons. We have it all. There's no question being asked that we don't have the answers to already. I don't think people can fathom the amount of research, the amount of effort, time, work that has been involved by many, many people. Many people. By the way, let me thank some of those people. Melissa, you mean the world to us. Thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication. Allison, you mean the world to us. Thank you so much. Oh yes, Megan, you mean the world to us. Thank you so much. Tug, you mean the world to us. Mr. Coop, you mean the world to us. I mean, there's so many people, from Rosalind to Star to Catch Up to. There's so much information. So much. And I know I'm leaving people out. I apologize. It's not intentional. I just thank you all for all the information that you continue to share. So Randy goes on to say, okay, so if we see a name change, are we going to see it legally going from LIEnette Michelle Barber to LIEnette Alexis Wilson? Is that right? And she says, I changed my name from LIEnette to Michelle Preston, or LIEnette Michelle Wilson, to LIEnette Lacey Alexis Wilson. Okay, and Randy's going, okay, so let me get this straight. You changed your name because you were married to somebody named Wilson, right? And it's on your marriage certificate, and it says LIEnette Michelle Barber or LIEnette Michelle Preston. And her answer, I don't remember when Tom and I got married. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the man that LIEnette says is the love of her life. She divorces Crook and then retakes his name. Has no idea when she had this name. Doesn't make much sense to me either, especially if this is the love of her life. 7 marriages, 7 divorces. At what point do you think LIEnette's going to go, I'm the problem? Not Jeremy Hales. She loves to say it's Jeremy Hales. She is the problem. All right, let's keep going on. Randy asked, when's the next time you actually changed your name then? Well, I don't remember the year. Well, hold a second. She already stated earlier that she had nothing that would affect her memory or recall. No medical issues, no medicines. Things are going to change on that answer really soon. So he goes, okay, well then was your name actually changed after that? Now, you may be thinking, why is Randy name? Again, legal. We are in federal court. The only legal person that owns that property is the only person who legally paid for it and legally has a name on it. A legal name, not an illegal name. It's going to become very interesting in trial. And to have a homestead, you both have to be a livable structure and a legal structure. They have neither on the property. Okay. All right. She goes on to say, I changed it to Alexis. It was Wilson and it was Preston. I can't remember the last name that happened after that. I don't know what to say. How can you not remember your names? Of course, when you have over 40 of them, I suppose that can become an issue. She goes, my writing doesn't work like that. Now, the reason why she says that is because Randy actually shows an exhibit. And he goes, all right, well, you just told me that this isn't your name. And I forget which name it was. I don't remember. They went through initials and everything. You told me this isn't your name. And Randy goes, would it surprise you if I have a document that shows this is your name? You have signed this as your name, or what you told me your name is not on this document. As a matter of fact, here's another legal document that doesn't match this legal document where you signed your name. You signed it completely indifferent over here. Here's another legal document. Do you understand the mess that she's in? I think we can all just thank Deuce. Namaste. Namaste. Old Deuce. We know Crook wants to thank him. Genius! Just a genius idea. By the way, Fed 2 is what prompted bankruptcy. Fed 2 is what prompted they're going to be gone off the property, out of our lives. Fed 2 wasn't a loss. Fed 2 was a victory. Okay. He says, have you ever been known by Ruby? She goes, no, never. Wait, hold a second. And I'm not going to show all the text messages right now. I've shown these in the past. She literally sends text messages saying, hi, it's Ruby in Northport. And she goes, Randy goes, has anyone ever called you Ruby? And she said, well, I had a friend who nicknamed me Ruby, and it was only her. Only she called me Ruby. I never, ever used that name. We literally have documentation. In the deposition, she calls herself Ruby. Well, here we go. Another lie for LIEnette. I know, nobody's shocked, right? Okay. I never said I was Ruby Warner. No. Okay. All right. I don't know where even the Warner comes from. I don't know where that ever came from. It's insanity. Absolute insanity in the responses. And keep in mind, this is question number 2. Question number 1 is, do you have any medical ailments, any medicines that you're on that would affect you to actually remember and recall in this deposition? Number 2 is, what's your name? What's your name? You know, I've been in a few depositions in these court proceedings, and that question is asked. I say Jeremy Bryan Hales, and it's done. This went on for half hour or more. Okay, let's see. All right, I never said I was Ruby, and for all these names, well, Randy goes, well, hold a second. You're the one that's given yourself these names. No, nobody gave you these names but you. Do you have or have you ever owned any real estate? Now remember, this is about homesteading real estate. So now we're getting to the point of real estate. Have you ever owned, don't you worry, there will be a court-ordered deposition again, probably in August with the judge, and she will be asked about everything with FLEASE. As a matter of fact, the entire phone call with Tug that she had, where she said she wanted help putting FLEASE in jail, is going to be played. She will be under oath, and she will be verifying, yes, she did ask and request for that call. Yes, that is her voice. Yes, she said those things to that umbrella guy about FLEASE. It will all be on the legal record. Okay. Have you ever owned any real estate under those names? She goes, well, I owned a house with my ex-husband. Do you see the problem with this answer? 7 ex-husbands. 7. And I'm sure she's not done yet. She definitely had her eyes on somebody. So Randy has to follow up. Great. Which one? Who knows? She goes, Ron Griffey. So Randy goes, okay, so if we pull this up, would it be a title? Is this Iowa? What's going on here? Now, keep in mind, we have everything already. Every question he's asking, we already know the answers to. And is it going to have your name on it? And if it is going to have your name, what name is going to be on this title? Now, you understand, if she owned a piece of property in Iowa with Ron Griffey, and she used some crazy name, and it's not the same name on a piece of property in Otter Creek, uh-oh, something's not legal, is it? What's her legal name? Okay. And she goes and says, it probably has my name on it. Okay, you either owned it or you didn't own it. Probably doesn't give us the answer, right? Probably doesn't give us the answer that we need here. So probably has my name on it. And she goes, I'm not sure if it was LIEnette yet or not. Now, hold a second. You're not sure if your name was LIEnette yet or not? In the beginning of this, she told Randy she never goes by LIEnette. It's only Michelle. Weird. Very, very weird. But now she's talking about, I don't know if it was my name was changed to LIEnette yet or not. She goes, I think it was LIEnette Michelle Griffey. LIEnette Michelle Griffey. So Randy says, so you became known as LIEnette Michelle Griffey then? And she goes, well, I don't know. And Randy goes, well, that's a little bit of a problem I'm having. So I don't know if it's LIEnette Michelle Griffey. I don't know if it's LIEnette Michelle Wilson. I don't know what your name is. What is your legal name? Okay. She goes on, and he goes on. Was it LIEnette Alexis Wilson? Was it LIEnette Michelle Wilson? What's the name? She can't even answer the question. She cannot answer the question. And he goes on, so then you married a Griffey, right? She can't answer the question. She's interrupting, saying all kinds of stuff. I mean, she's just interrupting nonstop about it. I don't write a name like that, and sometimes my full name can't fit on documents, and that's not how it goes, and everything's not the same. And Randy's going, okay. So then you got married to a Griffey. Why isn't the name on the title Lacey Alexis Griffey? Is it Lacey Alexis Griffey, if that's what your name was at that point? And she goes, no, because I changed my name. Whoa, whoa, whoa. She changed her name back to LIEnette Michelle Lacey Alexis Griffith Wilson Preston. What? What at this point? What's in a name? By the way, everything is in a name. Jeremiah, messenger of God. It describes who you are. Do you realize when Jesus Christ was walking down the streets and saw Zacchaeus, the tax collector, he said, the very first thing he said was, Zacchaeus. You realize Zacchaeus hasn't heard his own name in so long. Everybody hated him. He was called the most vile things you could ever. Zacchaeus was hated more than LIEnette in those times, in that day. And you know what they call her. The importance of a name. This is extremely important for this legal proceeding. So, why isn't it Lacey Alexis Griffith? Why isn't it Wilson? Why isn't it Preston? What is your actual name? And she goes, sir, I did not bring the records. I don't remember what year I changed my name, but it was Lacey Alexis. I was LIEnette Michelle Barber at one point. Birth. Oh, this is where it gets good. It gets so good. I legally went to court. Yeah, she's in a legal court hearing right now. I changed my name to Lacey Alexis. So we now have no more LIEnette Michelle. It's now Lacey Alexis. And after that, then she took all 4 of her names because she needed to. And this is why. Randy goes, why did you need to take all these names back? Because I became a Christian. Anybody seen any evidence of that? Because I'm sure not. You know, even in court, she said she just uses her turtle page, all these Otter Creek page, just to post Christian crap. Her words, not mine. She calls it Christian crap. You know what all her names are? Crap. Okay. And I wanted to take my names back. And I had all these divorces. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I had marriages. I had all these names. So for the record, what's her name? We still don't know what her legal name is. Are you getting this? The only thing we know at birth, her name was LIEnette Michelle Barber. That's what we know. That's the only legal name she has yet to give in this deposition. The only one. That is absolute legal. Then claiming she changed all of her names in court. Then changing she went to court because she became a Christian and took all the names back. A little schizo? Yeah, I'd say so. So she goes on to say, well, I had to take these names for records and I take them off for records. She said Randy goes, I knew this was going to be complicated. I mean, this is a lot. And he said that in the beginning. He goes, usually this is a short answer. I know this is going to be a long answer. But I don't think he intended it being this long. And I want to make sure I get down every single name you used legally. You understand why he needs that. Because she doesn't legally own the property if it's not her legal name. It's very simple. So she goes, yes, I was LIEnette Michelle Barber at birth. So Randy goes, so your father's name, that was Barber, right? Yes, sir. Okay. Then it goes into high school. Now, you have to understand, I'm not going to flash the screenshot up on the screen. LIEnette has already posted that she's the real-life Doogie Howser, that she graduated high school early, went to college early. Now, I think she's done a lot of these things because I've shared some of my accolades. And some of my accolades are, I went to undergraduate, normal for 4-year college, and I did a double major in 4 years, but I did it in 2. And I still graduated with highest honors. So what does that mean? I'm not dumb. That's what it means. It means I can pass a test. It means that I can be book smart. And there are things that I'm book smart about. And there are things that I nerd out about, okay? And then I went on and I did the same thing with my master's. I did not graduate with highest honors that I can recall. But then again, I didn't have PTSD since I was 6 or 7, which will come up here from LIEnette here soon, okay? So he goes, you went to high school. Did you graduate high school? No. Wait, hold a second. LIEnette doesn't lie. That's the thing. She doesn't lie. This I just direct quoted what is on a 911 officer's public record. That's the thing. I don't lie. She's already lied to everybody, saying that she graduated high school early and she went to college and she was a genius. All right, here goes another lie. We find out the truth under oath. She never graduated. Okay, so you never graduated. All right, did you have a driver's license? This is what Randy's trying to get to. Legal documents. What's on your birth certificate? What's on your driver's license? What's on a home? A mortgage? What's on a title? What's on a deed? We have to know your legal name. We can't get to a legal name. Psychotic. All right, so you graduate high school. Did you have a driver's license? Okay, she got a driver's license at the age of 16. What did it say on it? Randy goes, did it say LIEnette Michelle Barber on your driver's license when you first got it? And yes, it did. So we know her legal name, LIEnette Michelle Barber. And were you 18? Were you 19? Now we're talking about marriage. She goes, I got married at 17 years old. Can you even imagine? 17 years old. Now, I was dating my ex-wife at 17. I met her at 16. We got engaged at 19, married at 20, and frankly, shouldn't have. And praise the Lord, she's a great mother to my children. But unfortunately, we didn't work out. 17. What do we know at 17? Man, I look back now and I'm like, I was engaged at 19 and married at 20. I was a baby. What was I thinking? It was like playing house. It was foolish. It was foolish on my part. It really was. And she got married at 17. So Randy asked, so Wilson, that's not your first marriage? Nope. Who was your first marriage then? Gordon? No, Preston was first. That's LIEnette's answer. Preston was first. Okay, so Preston's first. Okay, so what year were you married to Preston? She goes, I don't know. It was 79. It was 80. How can you not know? This is the love of your life. So much so that you get married 6 more times, you divorce them, and then you change your name back to this man's name. Preston. You don't know? In all fairness, I don't know what year I got married either. So I graduated 95, 96, 96. So I probably got married in 97 or 98. 97, 98. Probably 97. Okay, so I don't know either. But this is the love of her life. I'm not talking about the love of my life. I never married the love of my life. Okay. So I don't know if it was 79, 78. Randy goes, okay, that's good enough. That's good enough for right now. That'll be fine. That's good enough for right now. And then you got divorced from Preston? Yes. Well, when did that divorce happen? I don't remember the year. Well, then when did you marry a Wilson? You did marry a Wilson, right? I don't remember the year. But you then did marry a Wilson. Yes. When did you marry a Wilson? Again, I don't remember what year. Maybe I didn't get all the information. Okay, so when you got married to Preston, let's go back to Preston. When you got married to Preston, were you then LIEnette Michelle Preston? Yes. Whoa! We finally got a real answer. So she got married to Preston. She was LIEnette Michelle Barber. Then she became LIEnette Michelle Preston. Legal name. Legal name. And Randy goes, so then you were known as LIEnette then? Or LIEnette, as we like to call her. And then you got married to a Wilson. You were LIEnette Michelle Wilson. She goes, I'm not sure if I had already changed my name. How can you not be sure if you changed your name when you're marrying this Wilson guy? I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, so, doesn't know. So you became LIEnette. Did you marry Wilson? Yep. And I'm not sure if I already changed my name. She goes, I don't believe I had. I don't believe it. I don't believe I had changed my name. Really? So then you became Lacey at this point? She goes, well, at Michelle Wilson, I then would have changed it. Yes, I needed his permission. Yes, I changed my name to Lacey Alexis Wilson after I married Jones. I don't know who Jones is. Apparently Wilson. So, something like that. Because she changed her name to Lacey Alexis Wilson. So she's no longer known as LIEnette Michelle Wilson. She is now known as Lacey Alexis Wilson. Are you guys following this? Don't worry. She accepts Jesus Christ as her personal savior and takes back LIEnette Michelle. But now she never wants to be known as LIEnette ever again. LIEnette. Okay. And Randy goes, so did you own any property under that name before you took on Wilson? And she's struggling giving any answers whatsoever. Did you have property with Wilson? Did you own any legal property? Can't get any answers out of it. He goes on, okay, when was the first time you actually owned any real estate? And under what name? Just give me that. We already have it. You understand, we're mining out the lies. Now, I'm just listening. Randy's doing the work that I'm paying him to do. But there's so many lies. She has no credibility whatsoever. And this is absolute insanity, and we're only talking about a name. She goes, or he goes, was it before the name change? She goes, I bought the property. I believe I had already married Ron Wilson. Griffey. Wait, hold a second. Griffey, Ron Wilson, Griffey. So we're going from Ron Wilson to Griffey. I don't even understand at this point. How can anybody keep track of these names at this point? So it then goes on to, you were going under Lacey Alexis Wilson at that point. Yes. Remember, there's no LIEnette, there's no Michelle. She dropped all of that. Says she just changed it legally in the courts. LIEnette and Michelle are gone. She's Lacey Alexis now, Griffey. And you bought property under that name. Lacey Alexis Griffey, right? She goes, yes, in Iowa. By the way, I'm giving the condensed short version of her answers. Her answers are all over the place, scattered, and she's interrupting the entire time. I'm just not going to interrupt because it would be ridiculous, right? He goes, okay, any other places you bought property in your life, anywhere, under any name, talk to me. I need to know what property, what legal name were you using? And she goes, well, I had a contract house. It was in Iowa. It didn't go. I don't know what happened. Does any of this make sense to any of you? I had a contracted house. I'm in Iowa. I don't know what happened. I don't know what name. I don't know anything. Okay. She says, contract never went through all the way. I was buying one, though. I was going to buy one. I was living in it. It didn't go through. All Randy wants to know, what name and where did you buy property? Okay. So Randy goes, okay, thank you. I think Randy's being extremely gracious. He can't get any real answers out of her. Thank you for all this nonsense that doesn't answer any question whatsoever. And she goes, finally, we get to a point. I owned one property under the name of Griffey. Yes. We finally got the answer that 30 minutes was spent trying to get, if not more. What name did you own property under, and where was it? Okay, so Randy goes on to say, have you ever owned any other property in your life? Get this, her answer. The house I live in now. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, I was losing it. All right, my camera was off, the audio was off. She says, the house I live in now. Randy's response is amazing. He goes, what does that mean? Oh, it gets so much better from here.